Hello, guys. So you guys get made up face, Stephanie. Yes, I had enough energy to get up and put my face on this morning, and then it kind of took me all day because if you can't see, I probably shouldn't be showing you the things that are wrong with my face, but it is what it is. So I had some issues with getting my eyeliner correct, and then the eyeshadow and stuff like that. So ah, whew, it has been a day, but I felt energized enough to do this. And I think it turned out amazingly. I like it oh so much. I just hope this energy continues on. So last week was pretty tame. I had a day where I completely binged like half of this list that I'm going to tell you guys about that I read last week, and it was pretty freaking awesome. It happened to be a day that was a bad day for the eye, which is why I ended up staying in bed and binging the books that I did. But it ended up being a good day because the books that I read were amazing and they were completely devourable. So, without further ado, let's get into the books that I did read last week. I started the week finishing Absolution, which is Grace Trilogy number 3 by Autumn Gray, placing this in contemporary new adult. Give it 4.25 stars. Give it 3 Steam fans. Listen to it as an audiobook. This is a Black author, and I probably needed to move over a little bit more, so I'll move over now. But this is a Black author. This is still following the events that happened with Grace, Solomon, and Levi. It is a love triangle, which I wasn't all that grateful for because love triangles in my list of tropes is like way down there. I am not a fan of it. But I think that Autumn did a really good job at kind of, flushing out everything. I was really kind of frustrated with it. In the end, I am happy the way that it did end up ending and who Grace ended up with and everything like that. So that was great. The next book that I finished was Missing at Christmas, which is West Investigations number 2 by Katie Richards. Placing this in romantic suspense, give it 4.25 stars, give it 3 Steam fans. Had this as an ebook and read it and as well as having it as a physical book. This is a Black author. This is part of the Harlequin Intrigue line. So there is a book before this one called Pursuant of the Truth, I believe it is. But that is book number 1, and I was so ready for this book, and it did not disappoint at all whatsoever. It is completely a standalone, which I thought they were going to be interconnected, but we only get a glimpse at the character from the first book, just kind of a mention, and because it is a West Investigations, it is about a investigation team and security firm that works together. In this one, we have Shane and we have Addie, who had a one night stand during the first couple's wedding. And then come to find out, Shane is up doing an investigation and sees that Addie is out and about and almost gets accosted, but he ends up saving her and kind of finds out that her missing sister is part of his investigation, and the two of them have their sexual tension that goes along with it. And I was so here for this story. It was fast paced. There are some trigger warnings for kidnapping and corporate espionage. They're not really trigger or content warnings or trigger warnings, but those are some things that play into the story, which I loved. It gave that perfect amount of romantic suspense that I was just here for. The next book that I finished was Lips Close to Mine, which is Wherever You Go, number 2 by Robin Bielman. And I'm placing this one into contemporary. Give it 4.25 stars. Give it 3 Steam fans. Listen to it as an audiobook. I really kind of wanted this story at the end of Talk British to Me, but as I got into this story, the more I read it or more I listened to it, I was like, can we get on with the story? Like, really? So we have Harper, who is a swimmer, and she has a tragedy. There are content warnings in this one for grief, PTSD, trauma, guilt, teen pregnancy, and things like that. So, whew, it's kind of a heavy book, but at the same time, the story kept repeating itself. You kept diving into the fact that Harper had grief over the trauma that she endured, as well as Levi not wanting to kind of get past the grief and trauma that he had as well. And it kept diving back into both of their traumas in one way or another. And it kind of got annoying. I kind of wish they had gotten to their togetherness and happily ever after before they did. And I wish that the trauma and grief didn't play a part in them getting their happily ever after. That was kind of annoying. The next book that I finished was A Very Intimate Takeover, Devereaux Incorporated, #1 by LaQuette. And I give this one, I'm placing this one in contemporary. Giving it 4.5 stars, giving it 3.5 Steam fans. I think I had this as an ARC, but maybe I didn't have it as an ARC, but I did have it as a physical copy and an ebook, which I was like, here for. Yes, this is a Black author. This is part of the Harlequin Desire line for the Devereaux Incorporated series that LaQuette is writing. And this is the first book. And like I said, I loved it. I mean, I devoured this book. So we have Jeremiah, who is the CEO of the Devereaux family's business. COO? Yeah, COO of the family business. And then you have Ace, who is the CEO. And he is an older man, and Ace is the older man. And he really leans on Jeremiah for the things that go on with the company, because he finds out that he is dying. But in turn, you also find out that Trey, who is the female or daughter of Deuce, who is Ace's son. So it's a huge soapy soap opera. Reading LaQuette's notes on where she drew inspiration for this story. She drew inspiration of making it a Black dynasty. So if you grew up in the 80s and 90s and know anything about dynasty, then you know the Devereaux the name of Devereaux, and I think it's Diane Carroll. I think that was her name, but she was the Black lead on Dynasty, and she was giving us life. And LaQuette took that inspiration and brought it into the 2020s, and I am here for this story. I was here for this story between Jeremiah and Trey, their sort of battle for the company, but also the secrets that they had to tell. And I was here for it. Here for the drama, here for the sexy times between Trey and Jeremiah. They were fire. They were straight fire, like on fire. Oh my goodness, so good. But I am looking forward to this whole entire family dynasty that we are going to learn about, the Devereaux. And I don't know who we're going to have next, but I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Give it to me. Yes. And thank you. The next book that I finished was Christmas Data Breach, which was West Investigation #3 by Katie Richards, placing this one in romantic suspense. Give it 4.25 stars. Give it 3 Steam fans. I had this as an ebook and a physical book. This is a Black author. This is part of the Harlequin intrigue line. This is the 3rd book in that series. As I said, this one deals with Maya and Gideon. Gideon is not a West person, or not a West brother, but he works for the company, and his ex-wife gets into a bit of trouble, and Maya ends up coming to his house to find security and safety when her lab is set on fire, and a false policeman ends up trying to kidnap her. So there's a bit of a mystery on who set the lab on fire, and then a whole bunch of things end up happening. There's a kidnapping, there's some murder, there's some suspense that ends up going on with the story, and I was here for it. I liked the banter between Maya and Gideon. I don't know. And the way that they dealt with their divorce kind of put me off on the wrong foot, because they were childhood sweethearts, and I loved them oh so much. As childhood sweethearts, you get to see a part of them telling their story, but at the same time, some of their reasons were just like, y'all could have worked this out. You could have worked this out. And although our characters kind of allude to that, uh, you know, sort of part of life. They were like, we could have worked this out by just having a talk. But at the same time, I kind of liked that miscommunication between them. So I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to whatever story comes next in this series. And then the final book that I finished last week, because I decided for some reason I wanted to participate in Dewey's 24-hour readathon. I kind of figured, because I was sitting in the car a lot on Saturday, that I would be able to get through at least one or two books. That didn't happen all so much. I got like 1.5 books done. This last book being the last book that I finished, which was, and not even on my TBR for the readathon, which was His Pretend Baby, 50 States, number 16, and I think it's called Ruthless Bosses, number 1 by Theodora Taylor. This placing this into contemporary, giving it 4.25 stars, giving it 3 Steam fans listened to it as an audiobook, but had it as an ebook as well. This is a Black author. It's also sort of a novella. I think it only took me about 2.5, 3 hours to listen to the audiobook. And this deals with Nyla, and Go. And Nyla finds out that she is pregnant with her, ooh, with her ex-boyfriend's baby, who also happens to be a cop, and of a different ethnic background, I think. I'm pretty sure. They're not, which makes this an interracial relationship. But Nyla is a foster kid. She grew up in the system, and now she is doing amazing things with her life and sort of getting herself together. But before she finds out that she is pregnant, she goes and sort of meets the family, and the family is not accepting of her. But Go is this very brash brother, and come to find out he is on the spectrum. And through the story, you, at least initially for me, I was not a fan of Go. I thought he was a jerk. I didn't feel like he could be redeemed, but as the story went along, you found out that he is on the spectrum, and that his quirks, are balanced out by hers as well, and they end up in an arranged marriage with a sort of pretend baby, because he's going to pretend that her baby is his, and he is a billionaire tech guy, because of his functions, and everything like that. And I ended up really loving this story, like really enjoying it. The only reason I'm not bumping it up is because of that beginning part where I was just like, I don't like this character. I don't like him. I don't know that his reasonings for his brashness were completely justified. So, that's where I land on that one. So what am I currently reading? I am currently reading Christmas in Rose Bend by Naima Simone. I will also be reading this upcoming week is going to be jam-packed. I'm just going to say that now. I'll be reading my art copy of Small Town King by Fabiola Francisco, which is the 3rd book in the Carlisle Sellers series. I'll be reading The Redemption by Nikki Sloane, which is the 4th book in the Filthy Rich American series. I'll be reading, I have an art copy of The Witch's Blade by A.K. Mulford, which is the 2nd book in her The Rings of Orinth stories. Super excited about that. Then I will be focusing on my priority reads for Patreon for you guys, which is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming, and Rotanev by Lexi C. Foss. So my week is going to be jam-packed. I will also have some tests that I have to have run on Friday, which kind of sucks, but that would also give me a little bit of time of reading, because I'm sure it's going to be hurry up and wait. During those testings, I won't be able to listen while I'm testing because it's an MRI, so no metal or anything like that. But be leading up to the week, I should have some time to get a lot of reading done. So, and a lot of those are on audiobook. I find that when I have to physically read it or listen to text to speech, which means I have to physically read along with the text to speech, it takes me a little bit longer to read books. So yeah, there's that. Other than that, thank you guys for, tuning in, listening, and enjoying the content that I give you. And I hope you like my look. Let me know if you like the look. Do you like the green? Do you like the green? I thought I'd go like really bold and do green. So there's that. I will see you guys in another video. So thank you guys.